Keith, Victoria recommends you so highly.
Oh.
And she sent me your resume. She sent me questions, and I had them all last night, and this morning I can't find them. But I want to let you know that one of the things that stood out in your resume is that you and I both attended the same institution.
Hey, it can only be Howard.
At Columbia.
Oh, Columbia. Okay, yes. Yes. Oh, well, Columbia.
Well, wait a minute. You're fine with me.
Well, thank you so much. And Victoria's a wonderful, wonderful human being and someone who I really admire. And
well, tell me a little bit about yourself. No, wait a minute. I know your wife is a pediatrician.
That's right.
Yeah, okay. So I read it.
And guess who she works for?
Who?
Columbia University.
Oh, God bless her. God bless her.
Yeah.
See, wait a minute. We're all in the family.
That's it. That is it.
That is so wonderful. Well, I'll tell you the truth. I'm one of those people who live here in Harlem who don't even know what the council does. And I say the New York City Council, District 9, all of this. And if somebody said to me, now I'll give you some money if you told me what they do, I don't know. What does the New York City Council do?
Well, the council is the legislative body for New York City that serves as a check against the mayor. And if you can think of the president and Congress, it's a very similar relationship. So the council approves the city budget. Mm-hmm. They also monitor the performance of city agencies. And one of the most important things they do is they make land use decisions. And they legislate.
Make what? Land use?
Land use decisions. They decide what can be built and what will not be built.
Okay, that is important.
Oh my goodness, yeah. And I've been on the community board for about 12 years now. I've been on the land use committee for that period of time. And so once it leaves the local community board process, it ends up at city council. It's the last stop for approval. Mm-hmm. And so they have a very important role. They also legislate on a variety of other issues that concern our lives, our well-being, how we exist in this city. Everything from sanitation to bicycles in the city to lead poisoning in NYCHA. They are involved in every aspect of city life, and so through the legislative process. And so that's why it's so important, the city council position, because we need to have strong representation at the city council. You know the old saying, if you're not sitting at the table, you're on the menu. And that's exactly the case for not having strong leadership and representation in the city council.
It's so weird that you would mention it, because I was telling somebody the other days, I'm sure I've got you by age in a bit, but I go around 125th Street, and I have noticed that everybody got in store down there now. I saw JC Richards down there, and all these grocery stores. Whole Food, of course, has been there, and blah, 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 blah. And I wonder, I say, what happened to, for lack of a better example, the good old grocery store or the good old record store where they've sold CDs and stuff? I mean, those things have been substituted and replaced by other places. And I said, I wonder why there's not more black representation on 125th Street.
Uh-huh. Yeah, well, I think one of the things that when we look at what's going on in Central Harlem right now, we have to look at all the problems that existed before the pandemic hit, before the economic crisis that exists, before the housing crisis existed. And we're dealing with all these things now as a consequence of of the pandemic. But what was going on before the pandemic even existed? We were dealing with systemic issues regarding dysfunctional schools, lack of affordable housing, unemployment rates high, crime rates high, and all these things were just exacerbated, just worsened by the current conditions that we're under. And what has really been apparent is the fact that our businesses don't have the resilience that other places have, other businesses have, other parts of town.
Yeah.
So we're definitely suffering, and this suffering has resulted in understanding much better the consequences of the historic issues that we have had to deal with as a community.
Well, we've done, I had a woman who had been had lived to 100 years old for Mother's Day, and it was such a wonderful interview. And one of the things that she talked about was how beautiful Harlem was in the good old days, and how people used various places to meet and greet, and how everyone was dressed so wonderfully well and together, and how all of a sudden Harlem was infected with drugs and those kinds of things, and guns, and how it deteriorated. And I'm hoping that we've made a U-turn, and we're coming back. Is that so?
One of the things I'm very proud to talk about is my family's history and legacy in Harlem. My family came to Harlem in 1905 from Barbados. My grandmother's uncle was the first black elected Democratic district leader in Harlem in 1935. Up to that point, they, even though these Democratic clubs had black membership organizations, they always had a white person, elected as a Democratic district leader, and so he was the first one to do that. He fought for equality. He fought for jobs. He fought for integration of African Americans at all levels of government, as well as business acumen. He had a restaurant for over 40 years called the Monterey, right across the street from the Renaissance Ballroom. And so my grandmother graduated from Wadley High School. My ties to Harlem are very deep. And so what you're talking about, the Harlem Renaissance, is something that we don't even appreciate as much as we should, because we walk around all these buildings, we visit all these sites that people come from all over the world to see, and yet they're not protected. One of the things that I've done as a block association president is applied to have the neighborhood that I live in, around 136 in Edgecombe, to have it protected, landmarked. And we've been successful at the state and federal level, and we are about to hopefully get approval at the city level for city landmarking, which will protect all these beautiful buildings that have such significant...
Beautiful brownstones.
And has so much significance to our history as African Americans. So, we have to protect the building and the culture. And
I'm talking to Dr. Keith Taylor, who's running for the New York City Council for District 9. I want you to know that I am a lover of sometimes, and I was born in Harlem Hospital, moved to Brooklyn at a young age, but returned, and I just love Harlem. I think it's just such a fabulous place, and what you're doing. And here in District 9, what is District 9? Where is that?
Oh, District 9 is mostly central Harlem. If you think in general terms, 110th Street up to 155th Street. It's not quite a rectangle. At the top of it looks sort of like a triangle, but a triangle and then a square would be what District 9 looks like. There's small parts of West Harlem going to Amsterdam Avenue and East Harlem going as far as 3rd Avenue, but most of it is contained within, say, the same boundaries as Community Board 10. So it's mostly Central Harlem with a little bit of West Harlem going up to City College and on East Harlem, Park Avenue. I'm going
to tell you something, Dr. Keith Taylor. I think Harlem is beautiful. And I see, and I have friends who live in some of the brownstones now, and there is not a month that goes by that somebody doesn't come knocking on their door asking them, are they interested in selling, you know? And I just hope and pray that all of you all who are running now, that someone like you will keep us, will preserve us, and will make sure that we stay in the running and stay, I hate to say this because of that, stay with our own community, with the black community. I believe in white people showing up. I'm not prejudiced to that point. I love seeing them. I think they bring great attributes to a neighborhood. But I'm not ready for them to be dumping black people out and pushing them out of Harlem. So I think everybody should be very, very concerned and involved with someone who's running for the New York City Council and District 9. Now, if I don't know, but they got a system that they have running, you all running now, that is very, very difficult to understand. I don't understand it. It's called a ranking.
Ranked choice voting.
Oh, God, what is that about?
Yeah, ranked choice voting is, what it's supposed to do is provide an opportunity for a voter to have more influence on who gets elected. And it does that by allowing people to vote not just for one candidate, but also vote for up to 5 different candidates. Like my first choice is, say, Dr. Taylor. Second choice is, another candidate. Third choice is a third candidate. Fourth choice is another candidate. And then the fifth choice is a fifth candidate. There are about 14 candidates running.
Oh, my God.
So yeah.
Who made that thing so difficult?
Well, it's something.
Difficult.
It's something that the voters chose by over 70% a few years ago.
Oh, they did?
They voted for this, and so now they're implementing it for citywide elections. Most of them. The district attorneys is not one of them.
So if I wanted to vote for you, I have to put you in number 1?
That's right. I'd be your first choice. And then you are able to choose other individuals who are running for the other 4 choices. And what this does...
Oh, you can only do 5 choices, right?
5 choices. And what this does is this means that, let's say that I don't win, then the votes, the people that voted for me, their second and third and fourth and fifth choices, those now get allotted to the other candidates that exist. If I'm in the top 5...
Yeah.
So I have to make the top. But if I'm the 5th place person, then I'm automatically going to get, cut off. And then the votes that would, the second and third and fourth and fifth place votes for the other candidates would go to those candidates that are still in the running, the top 4. Now this only takes place if no candidate reaches 51% of the vote. So, and you don't have to choose 5 candidates if you don't want to. You can choose up to 5.
I could just put a check next to your name and go on about it.
That's it. Yeah. Or you can choose 2 candidates or 4 candidates. You don't have to choose 5. But the one thing you don't want to choose is first place for more than 1 candidate, because then you're invalidating your vote.
Sure.
Yeah, but you can still treat it just like a regular ballot and just vote for 1 person, and it would still be valid. But you're reducing your impact on the potential winner, because your other choices don't get reflected in the final tally.
Well, I have to laugh because voting has always been sort of a chore and something that they have to kind of teach and tutor black people to do. And then, so just like when everybody seems to get it down to pat, they change it up, and make it more difficult. And I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, voting is so important because you're really deciding on the leadership that is going to navigate your district's interests in city council. And what that means is the budget. Are you going to have enough scrutiny over city agencies? Is your city council person going to be there making sure that your agencies are devoting the proper resources to your district. And one of the things I wanted to mention is Harlem has always been welcoming to others. It's always been a multicultural area. But one of the things that we don't want to do is for gentrification to cause the people that have been here for years, that love this community, understand it as the black Mecca, known worldwide. You know, where the Harlem Hellfighters trained before they went overseas, where the civil rights movement was nurtured and brought to fight against discrimination in other parts of the country. We don't want that to disappear. We want to stay here and make Harlem better, make it more accessible, more equitable for anybody, regardless of their station in life, regardless of whether they don't have any money or if they have a lot of money. They should have the same rights and privileges for a decent education, for clean and healthy housing, and for opportunities for employment or creating small businesses. That's what the American dream is. That's what the promise is. And certainly, as African Americans, we have paid for that. And so we need to make sure that we get what we're due. And so I'm running because I love my community. I will fight hard for it. I have done that in all the different volunteer efforts that I've done, everything from the community board to serving on UMES to, being on the board chair for the Harlem Independent Living Center and a number of different organizations, all to make Harlem better. That's why I'm running.
Well, we certainly need you, and especially with that thought and futuristic things that you're talking about, because that's what we're about. I think that the people who have survived Harlem and who are still here, who haven't taken to New Rochelle or Scarsdale or Queens, really want all those wonderful things you just said. And I'm hoping and wishing for you the very, very best, Keith Washington, and I pray for you.
Well, I thank you so much. And, I have a lot of, ideas, platforms, and I want people to know about what I've been doing in the community, that I didn't just arrive here recently. I've been here, and my family's been here for a long time. And so I put all that on my webpage, tailormadeforharlem.com. And people can look at it.
tailormadeforharlem.com.
Yep. If they want to contribute, I will be very happy, especially given the city's 8-to-1 match. So, I want them to find out.
If they wanted to contribute, what would they do?
They would simply go to the website. It's connected to the city's NYC votes, and they can contribute, whatever amount that they want to. But every amount is important, and every contribution is very important. And the 8-to-1 match for city residents really does have an impact. It allows the campaign to do our mailings and phone calls and emails, and really let folks know about my campaign and why I'm running and why this is such an important time for Harlem. And this race is so important because for the first time in a long time, we're really going to have, as a community, an opportunity to decide what the future will be. And it won't be the same sorts of narratives that we're used to. We can actually make very important changes for the education of our young people, for the seniors that live in our community, for all the different needs that Central Harlem has. They are significant, and they are especially so now. So we really need strong leadership that is going to really be attentive and make sure that we get our fair share.
Well, I want to thank you for that, and I wish you so much luck. You're a wonderful family, and you live here too, and of course that's very, very important. All right, so keep in touch, and whether you win or not, keep in touch with us here at WHCR.
I certainly will, and I thank you for the opportunity to talk to you and your audience.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, take care.